Hello everyone, my name is David Gay and thank you very much for taking the time to watch the 8th episode of David Needs a Job. Today is Canada Day. Canada is 146 years young. I am so proud to be Canadian. I am so lucky to live in a society that allows me the freedom and the democratic right to tell you my story about my job search, the frustrations and challenges that I've had to go through these last 3.5 years to find work, and the snakes and ladders game that I have to play to go through the interview process, fill out job applications, network like a server, take career coaching, and just do anything possible in order to be considered a qualified candidate for a job opening in a corporation in this age of austerity and a jobless recovery. In my previous episode that I shared with you, I described to you my inner conflict and my deliberations as to how far I was willing to travel in order to get a job. Was I willing to go as far west in Canada to get a job, earn a paycheck, or even travel to another part of the world, such as the United States, European Union, Asia, Middle East, again, just to earn a paycheck? And no matter what reason I came up with, every single time I came across that particular question, the answer was always no. There was a line in the sand that I refused to cross, and I would not do it. I would be happy to continue my job search, trying to find something that was more local. And, that's my personal choice, and I hope that you respect that right. Now, I am going to continue on that vein, but in a more philosophical and figurative sense. If I were to ask you, if you are a job seeker, how far are you willing to go in order to find a job? I don't mean geographically anymore. I'm talking to you from a journey inside. How far are you willing to go to change who you are, the values you believe in, and what was considered sacred cow, no longer a sacred cow, in order just to earn a paycheck? What are you willing to give up that is so important to you in order to get a job? And you want to know something? I talked about this line before, a line in the sand that I refuse to cross. But you want to know something? It's literally a line in the sand. It's not in concrete. It is easy to change that line. And I have found that over the last 3 years, I have in fact changed that line. And I would like to share with you today my own experiences of what I had to go through in order to change that line so that my job search can continue, can evolve, can grow, so that I can continue to hopefully find work in the situation that I'm in right now. The first change happened was my interpretation as to what type of work I wanted to do. Back in the 1990s, when we had the 1992-1993 recession, there was no way in the world that I was considering any possibility of taking a job outside of IT, even if it meant being out of work for a number of months, which in fact that's what happened in the 1990s. I was out of work for several months. But I steadfastly said, nope. I graduated top third of my class in college in computer programming and system administration. I invested an awful lot of money and a lot of time trained to be the man that I am in IT. I worked already for a number of years in the IT field. I had a career that was just getting started. There's absolutely no way that I would consider taking a job outside of IT just so I could pay my rent and my bills. Granted, the recession back in that time in the early 1990s, it's nothing like the toilet bowl that we're all swimming in right now. Everyone is comparing the situation that we're in right now to the depression of the 1930s. And believe me, I agree with that assessment completely. Within the first year of my job search in the 21st century, now, I found I was not getting as many interviews for IT-related work as I used to. And I was running out of options and running out of ideas of what to do. So I sat back and thought things over a bit, and I go, you know what? I have to change my game strategy. I have to change what I wanted to do in order to find work of any sort, cast that net a little bit wider, and despite the urgings of those people who are in IT, my fellow co-workers and IT professionals who I network with on LinkedIn, telling me don't do this, stick with your IT goals and your career plan, don't consider taking jobs at Walmart or Zellers or anything like that. That's exactly what I did. I applied at Food Basics and Walmart, Best Buy, Home Depot. I even applied for a job at a park picking up dog poop. That's pretty much how wide that net was cast. And you know, it got me a little bit of part-time work, and it also got me a tons and tons and tons more interviews. So yeah, it was something that I found a little bit difficult to give up because I did not want to leave my focus on IT, but you have to do what you've got to do. I cast that net wider, and that helped me a great deal. And you know, another thing that I had to change, and this was probably almost as trying as changing my focus of what type of work I wanted to do, was the introduction of social media into my job search. Now, I will tell you right now, I'm not the type of guy that says, you know, look at me, look how great I am, look what I'm doing, look what I did over there and here and up there and all that stuff. I mean, you're probably watching the video right now and going, really? You could have fooled me. But yeah, I'm not the type of person that draws attention to himself or brags about my accomplishments. You could say I'm kind of like a deed speak kind of person. I let my actions speak for myself. And what I mean by that is, when I worked at my last job, I said very little, kept my head down, followed orders, respected the chain of command, and tried my best to work with the user community and meet the aspirations of my employer. Get the job done, deliver the goods. And in the end, when all is said and done, my co-workers and my boss would say, you know, you see that guy over there, sitting over there in the IT department, that fellow, his name's David. He got that program running when no one else could. Or David over there, he created a solution that allowed us to send information encrypted through FTP without us having to actually put it in our emails. Or instead of printing our invoices out on a costly printed paper and putting them into envelopes and stamping them in a mailing machine, he found a way to configure SAP to communicate with the network department's post office server and send the invoices off to our customers via email. Security, accurately, without any mistakes whatsoever. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about when I say deeds speak. My actions spoke for me. I did not have to say one word about how well I did my job over the last 20 years. What I did spoke for themselves. But unfortunately, you can't do that nowadays. You can't be the meek, quiet Clark Kent kind of guy. You've got to stand out in a crowd. You've got to make yourself known. And career counselors and employment experts, they say you've got to make yourself visible. You've got to network. And sure enough, that's exactly what I had to do. I had put up a LinkedIn profile. I started a blog at davidallengay.wordpress.com, and I've got tons and tons of videos out there on YouTube and Google+, including this new series, David Needs a Job. So yeah, I'm very uncomfortable having this camera, you know, staring at me and recording every word I said. But you know, it's what you have to do. It's what you must do in order to find work. And just be flexible and be innovative and be adaptive. And you want to know something? I'm not the only person who's done this. I've done a little bit of research on the internet before starting this video up today, and I didn't have to spend more than a couple of minutes to come up with some examples. For example, in New York, one job seeker proceeded to panhandle for a job on the S train. And what that means is he would walk on the S train during the morning and evening rush hours with a handful of resumes. And he would introduce himself rather quickly, tell the people that he talked to who he was, what he did, what he's looking for, and at the end of that discussion, he would hand them the resume and kindly ask them to pass that resume on to any hiring manager these people may be familiar with. And you want to know something? That's pretty gutsy. That's something that I would never do. I mean, I'm not that type of person that would stand out at the corner of Yonge and Dundas and say, you know, hire me. You know, I'm not like that at all. I mean, it's already a reach just for me to talk in front of a video camera, let alone stand in a corner and basically hand out resumes or a subway train like what this fellow was doing. But that fellow did it, and good for him. I mean, that shows gumption, and that's a very ballsy move. And another equally ballsy move, though it does register a bit on the creep factor, is a nurse decided to write her resume on a small 3x5 card and stuff it in a pill bottle with the label addressed to a prospective employer. Well, you want to know something? I'm impressed that she was able to do that on something so small, 3x5-inch paper. I have enough trouble trying to put my resume on 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11-inch paper, resume paper and do it in 2 pages without doing double-sided. I mean, I've done so much, it's almost like writing a novel, but apparently she's able to do this on a small card. And as it turned out, she got hired. So, yeah, it sounds a little weird, kind of creepy in a way, but it works, and she got the job that she was looking for. Even in Toronto, my city where I am right now, there's a fellow by the name of Jeff Crane who is willing to pay, get this, $25,000 Canadian to get a job in his chosen field. Now, what is his chosen field? Spooky as it sounds, it's IT, like mine, and he's in the same age group as I am, in my 40s. Just a little younger, but he's a mature man like myself, and he's willing to buy a job in order to get hired. I would never pay for a job personally, but that's my choice. And as for Mr. Crane's approach, I hope he found a job, and I hope that he gets what he's paying for. Though I can certainly see some legal aspects coming out of that in case he decides to change jobs and does not pay the person who got him the job in the first place. Here's another one. Toledo worker Brandon Stewart has a wife who is looking for work. He bought his wife a billboard ad that says, "Please hire my wife." And you want to know something? Whether his wife got the job or not, and I hope she is working, and I hope she did get a job. No one should be out of work for a long period of time. Whether that worked or not, that guy, Brandon Stewart, he got himself so many get out of the doghouse passes just by doing that. So the next time he forgets his wife's anniversary or forgets her birthday or something like that, he can probably pull up one of those get out of the doghouse passes, because he must got like 500 or 600 of them just by getting her a billboard. But good for him for trying that. That's rather impressive. But you want to know something? None of this stuff, this is all very gutsy moves, but that does not necessarily mean that you're going to find a job. And in some cases, it can even backfire on you. Alexei Vayner was a Yale student who sent a video resume to a company called UBS for an investment banking position. Now, the video was called "Impossible is Nothing." And I've seen that video, and it is something that you just cannot describe in words. You just have got to see this, because I've seen this. And it's not a bad video. It's actually very, very well done. Very impressive. But the thing is, it's like massive epic production, like something out of Lawrence of Olivier or Gone with the Wind. It shows him dancing. It shows him playing, racquetball. It shows him doing all these amazing things. But the thing is, nothing that he has done in that video resume, has anything to do with the work that he does in the banking field. And it's like he's like being interviewed like he's some sort of movie star or some famous person. It backfired. The person who received this at UBS thought it was just all a big joke. He just laughed at it and sent it off to some of his other colleagues, who in turn had a good laugh and sent it off to a bunch of people. And pretty soon, poor Alexei, I feel so bad for this guy. He turned out to be like a laughing stock in social media. He just got flamed. And the really sad part about it is, I think that pretty much put an end to his banking career right then and there. Just completely flattened it, scorched earth it. And that's a shame, because the guy had an awful lot of talent and a lot of potential. But something like this, when you try to get somebody's attention, it's kind of like it can go off in such a bad way. It can be like a backlash, a backdraft, and it can just completely work against you in so many ways. But that's what I wanted to share with you today. I mean, this is the sort of stuff that we job seekers have to do in order to find a job. We have to be prepared to take steps that tell us, move us out of our comfort zone and open our minds and our hearts and our opinions to other possibilities. As for this series that I'm doing right now, it could land me a job. Someone might say, well, this guy here, he's certainly not media friendly and not a movie star, has a funny sounding voice, horrible sense of fashion, but he's willing to take a risk. He's willing to get his face out there to communicate with other people, express his opinions regarding the job search. He sounds like somebody that we would like to have in an entry-level position in the company. And that's my say for today. I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you again next episode. Have yourself a great Canada Day if you're Canadian, And if you're not, well, enjoy your day, and we'll be talking again real soon. Bye for now.